Banaz Mahmod is my sister. So Banaz and I are quite similar in age. Banaz was around 17 months older than me. Growing up, we were always together. We would play together as children, go through our teens together. Me and her were very close growing up. She and I went through pretty much most experiences around the same time, since we were so close in age together. We went to school together, and even when we found ourselves in our abusive child marriages, we were still living together and going through that together. Banaz was a very kind person. She was very caring, very nurturing. She loved taking care of children. She was obsessed with my nephew, and she also really had a passion for looking after the elderly. For her work experience, she actually wanted to work at a care home very close to our home, and she just really enjoyed taking care of people. She was very close to my grandmother. She would do her grocery shopping for her. She would go and clean her home for her. She was quite a hands-on kind of person. She was very shy in a way, but also quite cheeky at the same time. She always had this kind of cheeky smile on her face, very light, humoured, and she just loved to have a good time. She really enjoyed spending time with family and having lots of people together. She really loved cooking, and just socialising. Although she was quite shy, she just really loved being around people, and I just remember her excitement for when our parents would come over and she would want to cook different food and clean the house and get all domesticated. She just really loved being around people and having a good time. Some of the memories that come to me when I think of Banaz is how she was very friendly. I don't know anybody that didn't like Banaz. I don't know anyone that met her and was left with a bad impression. People always said how nice she was, how friendly she was, and that they always remembered her. That's the thing with Banaz. She was someone that you would remember because she left that kind of mark on you. She just made people around her feel really good and always wanted to help. That's one thing I remember about Banaz. She just wanted to help everyone and make sure people felt good. Banaz really enjoyed listening to Mariah Carey. I remember one specific album that she would play over and over again. We actually bought a copy of the album when people used to copy albums, many years ago. And that particular CD would go in our CD player, and it was just on repeat all day, every day. She loved Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez. She was a fan of the Spice Girls when we first came to the UK. And she really enjoyed listening to boy bands like Boyzone and Westlife, and we had their posters in our wardrobe, inside our wardrobe. I still remember her when I listen to Mariah Carey songs, or I hear Mariah Carey anywhere I go. That's all I remember is Banaz's memories of how much joy it brought her listening to those songs. I think Banaz would want to be remembered as someone who was a good person, and I think I want people to know is that Banaz had a very good heart, and she would want to be remembered as that person who just wanted everyone around her to be okay and to have a good time. She was very good at organizing birthdays and ordering the cake and the cooking and the decorations. She just was somebody who really loved to make sure that the people around her were having a good time, and that she was making that happen. I think she'd also want to be remembered for some of her very brave decisions. She is an example of, for me, the bravest person that I have known all my life. And I think that's really important when we think of Banaz, is to remember that Banaz was so brave and she did everything that she could to ensure her safety. I have been campaigning in my sister's memory for the last 5 years. And I've worked on the issues that have impacted both me and Banaz. So child marriage, virginity testing, honour-based abuse. And the reason that I feel it's really important to honour Banaz and her memory in the work that I do is because I feel there were a lot of failures leading up to Banaz's death, and I truly do think that her death could have been avoided. Banaz could have had a very different fate, and so it's very important for me to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And of course it's not bulletproof, but I think our efforts are very important in ensuring that there's more education, there's more awareness around these issues, and that when girls and women are seeking support, that they're seen, they're heard, and most importantly that the right resources are offered to them so that they can safely leave and seek security and safety and justice for themselves. So that is why for me it's so important to campaign in Banaz's memory, and I never want her name to be forgotten. I want everybody to know the person that Banaz was, how incredible she was, and I want people to understand honor-based abuse, because unfortunately when Banaz was seeking help, people didn't understand honor-based abuse, and it's one of the saddest parts when we talk about what happened to Banaz, is that there was such a lack of knowledge around the issue. So I'm really hoping by continuing to talk about honor-based abuse and advocate for survivors and victims that we can ensure this form of abuse is really widely understood. I hope future victims and survivors feel confident in coming forward. I hope that they feel that they can seek support, they can speak out, and that they can move forward with their lives with the right support. I would hate for what happened to Banaz to deter other victims and survivors, and I would really urge anybody who feels they are in a similar situation or experiencing honor-based abuse to seek help, to come forward, because there is support out there, and that's exactly why we do this work, in the hope that anybody who needs to see this will see this and seek support. I think the most important form of support that needs to be out there for survivors, for victims and their families, is first and foremost the awareness, and then the understanding of honor-based abuse. I would love a world where all professionals understood the complexities and the nuances of honor-based abuse, and were able to offer the right resources to the victims and survivors at the right time. Unfortunately, with honor-based abuse, it is very time sensitive and different things can trigger further abuse. I think it's really important to share Banaz's story and for people to know who she is, because she was a remarkable woman. She is someone that we should all know and we should all remember. And to me, Banaz has changed the world, just with who she was, just with her very brave actions. Banaz has inspired millions of women around the world, and has shaped the way that we work, has certainly shaped my goals in life, my determination and my belief that there has to be better resources for victims and survivors, and that honor-based abuse must be understood widely and sufficiently. I think when people hear Banaz's name and her story, they are firstly heartbroken. They're heartbroken because of what happened to Banaz. It should have never happened. But I also believe that they take away hope, and they take away the amazing woman that Banaz was. And I hope that it inspires people to do more, to learn more, and to act if they think someone is in danger. Being Banaz's sister and what happened to her has shaped the woman that I have become in many ways. I have dedicated my life to this work and to ensuring that victims and survivors are supported sufficiently and adequately, and that they're offered the right support at the right time. But also on a personal level, I strive to tell Banaz's story everywhere I go, because I want people to know the remarkable woman that she was, and I want people to learn from what happened to Banaz. I want people to remember what happened to Banaz and to take something away. When I think of the person that I'm becoming, I owe a big thank you to my sister Banaz, because she has taught me how to be brave, how to be determined, and how to make a positive, and how to be a good person. Banaz's heart was so big. I've never met somebody who was so kind, so compassionate, And that has influenced my life in ways I can't even describe. I'm extremely honoured to be Banaz's sister and to have spent 18 years of my life with her by my side. They are memories I will treasure forever. Some of the challenges that I faced whilst doing this work have been around re-traumatization, have been around resharing my story and resharing Banaz's tragic story. I think that there is a lack of support for survivors that speak out. I believe sometimes our stories are taken and our narratives disappear, and our words are being reframed and rephrased, and our stories are being taken by other people and shared in words that others are comfortable, which is why I'm so passionate about taking ownership of my story, and about putting up boundaries where I don't feel comfortable in sharing my story or Banaz's story, and just really respecting that this is lived experience. We're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about a real impact that it's had on people. Some of the challenges I've also faced in campaigning is the constant re-energizing and finding new ways of raising awareness, of sharing my experience, and ensuring that people stay engaged. One of the challenges is ensuring that people stay engaged, making sure that people want to continue to take action and they are in it for the long run, and not just one conversation, not just one training, but that they are really dedicated to this and will do everything that they can to drive this conversation forward. On a personal level, one of the biggest challenges is the emotional toll that it has taken on me and continues to take on me, because it's not easy to share my story, to share Banaz's story. It's not easy to continuously share Banaz's story and to talk about some of the most painful things that have happened to her and that she has experienced, that can often be really traumatizing and very difficult to share with the world. The thing that motivates me, despite the challenges, is that I have to do this because there are lives at stake here. And I know that there are hundreds, thousands, if not millions of women around the world who experience unabased abuse and who don't have support and who don't know where to look for support until we have a world that is free from unabased abuse. What really motivates me is the strength, the courage of so many victims and survivors that I meet on a daily basis. I very, very often meet remarkable people who have taken the decision to share some of the most difficult times of their life and turn that pain into power. And that for me is very, very motivating, and which is one of the main reasons I do what I do. I'm so inspired by victims and survivors every single day. I'm in awe of their bravery and their strength. If you're watching this video, I want you to know that you are part of the change, because I have your ear and your eyes, and the next thing I need is your heart. Your heart that will inspire you to leave this room after you've watched this video and tell the next person, and they tell the next person. I'm hoping that when you finish watching this video, you feel the urge to take action. And that action can be as small or as big as you choose. It can be telling the next person that you see about unabased abuse. It can be fundraising for an organization. It can be volunteering. It can look very, very different for different individuals. But the main thing is that you're moved to take an action, or simply just continue that conversation. My message to the audience is, every victim that we're remembering today should have been in the room with us, and they should have never lost their lives because of so-called honor. And I urge you to remember every single person whose name you've heard today. And please let that drive you forward in ensuring that there are no more names added to the list of names that we've heard today. I believe that's possible. If you believe that, we're already halfway there. So the other half is, how are you going to make sure we don't add any more names to that list? What will you do leaving here today?